Thank you. And I wish I could rise to celebrate, and that is a true achievement from Senator Geis's district, and we are certainly proud of them, and we're following along in their achievement. But I have a little bit more of a somber reflection today. Yesterday, just before midnight, Kabul time, the very last American evacuation flight left Afghanistan. I have passionately believed for a long time that we needed to leave Afghanistan. Last year, I had the opportunity to meet President Trump, and the very last thing I said to him as I left the Oval Office was, "Mr. President, thank you for getting us out of Afghanistan." My worldview on our involvement on this began to change during my own deployment in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom in 2008. I used to believe that human beings possess an innate desire to be free of oppression and tyranny. I believed in my core that once given the opportunity, they would embrace it and treasure the liberties that we hold with such reverence. Unfortunately, I began to realize that this isn't universally true. If you ask any American, "What are you?" they will answer, "I am an American," unless you're asking somebody in Texas. But other than that, they will all say, "I'm an American." Unfortunately, in many countries, they are tribally split and have virtually no national unity. I recall driving on a long convoy through the desert of Iraq. It was about 130 degrees outside, and on the side of the road were some Bedouin children waving as we drove by. As I think back now, those kids were the same age as my kids now. We tossed out some food and other comfort items we had on hand, and as I looked at those kids, I saw that they weren't even wearing any shoes. It was 130 degrees out with scorching sun, and the sand packed hard like cement, and these kids have no shoes. And I realized at that point it probably doesn't matter a whole lot to Bedouin, tribal, nomads, children 5, 6, 7 years old. It doesn't matter a whole lot to them if Saddam Hussein is in charge of their country or some so-called democratic government propped up by the American government. They still had no shoes. I don't even know if they knew what we were trying to accomplish in their country. And if anything, Afghanistan is far more tribal than Iraq. To each of our veterans of Afghanistan, I say a sincere and heartfelt thank you. To the 2,361 who lost their life, including the Marines and other service members who just died last week, a special thank you. I have friends who were notified of their upcoming deployment to Afghanistan while they were still finishing their deployment in Afghanistan. It's no way to fight a war, and it has a decimating impact on morale. But to each and every veteran of Afghanistan, you kept America safe from terrorism for the last 2 decades. Our mission was never to give Afghans a new life or to ensure that Afghans live in a free country or even to guarantee that girls can go to school. All of those are noble endeavors. But our mission was to dismantle al-Qaeda, to capture or kill Osama bin Laden, and to keep America safe. We accomplished that mission. Yet our withdrawal is an indefensible collapse of leadership. I'm not a Princeton graduate, and I didn't attend the War College. I went to a public university that I was able to afford because I had earned the GI Bill. Yet I and countless other Americans watched in shame and heartbreak as we saw the real struggle taking place before our eyes. Are these leaders the best America has to offer? Is studying white rage really more important than keeping Bagram Air Base secure until our citizens and allies have had the opportunity to evacuate from a troubled war zone? What the hell are we even teaching in the War College right now? I know our Marines and other service members who died last week represented the very best America has to offer. They died on the single deadliest attack on American soldiers in Afghanistan since President Obama's first term in office. They were young men and women who were tending to Afghan infants. Those infants were older than many of those Marines were when 9/11 happened. I hope that this week and the last 20 years will serve as a reminder for our policy leaders going forward. No more nation building, no more mission creep. Our military exists to keep Americans safe.